Hi, this is Rebecca with Rust and Roses, and thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a couple of quick, easy, and very affordable Christmas in July crafts for you today. Easy and very affordable Christmas in July crafts for you today. So what I have for you are styrofoam snowmen, and I'll go ahead and give it away. I'm doing a couple of Pringles can gnomes. So what I have here are 3 styrofoam balls, 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. I ordered these from Amazon in a variety pack, and I got a ton more than I ever thought I would. So after I finish the 3 that I'm doing today, I'll probably do some more for what I call my occasional tree that I keep up all year round. I got to decorate it for fall first, but then here comes Christmas. Anyway, I'm using a barbecue skewer, and I'm going to just spike it through the middle of each of the styrofoam balls, starting with the small, pushing all the way down, then the medium, then the large. I'm going to separate them just a tiny bit so that I can get some hot glue in between each styrofoam ball, a little bit on the skewer, a little bit on the styrofoam ball. Press that together to make sure that they don't wiggle around and they don't go anywhere and they don't fall off the skewer. Once I have those put together, I'm going to use my home decor Adirondack chalk paint and my diamond dust glitter. I don't usually do a lot of glitter, but I love this fine glitter. It just gives these snowmen a real shimmery look. I'm using some rustic fabric that I'm going to be using for their hats and their scarves. And we'll do that a little bit later, just showing you what you're going to need for this project. And this is what our little snowmen are going to turn out to look like. Aren't they cute? Once we get their little faces and their buttons and their scarves and their hats, I can't wait till they're done. So cute. So here I'm just going to start the painting and glittering process. I'm going to paint each styrofoam ball separately. Once I have wet paint all over the styrofoam ball, I'm just going to take my glitter and sprinkle it on while the paint is still wet to make sure I get that shimmery, glittery effect. And then I'll bump it off just a tiny bit to make sure I don't have any excess. And then move on to the next styrofoam ball, and then eventually the larger one, using the same process of painting and glittering. I'm using a piece of parchment paper underneath so that when I bump off the excess or have excess glitter, all I have to do is bend my little parchment paper and put it right back into the container. Now that I have those painted and glittered, I'm going to set those aside to dry for a little bit while I prepare my scarves and my hats. I'm using the rustic fabric, and I'm making about a 1/2 inch cut in my fabric, and I tear that because I do like that kind of frazzled edge. I think it just gives it an authentic look. I'm going to make that long enough for 3 scarves, and then with the hat, I measured around the top styrofoam ball to see how long I would need it. And then I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue on one side to make a cuff for the hat. I'm going to do that, of course, on all 3. Once I have those glued down, I'm just going to take the hat and wrap it around the top styrofoam ball, hot gluing it in various places to make sure that it stays exactly where I want it to be, and making sure that I leave plenty of space for my snowman's face. I made a hanger for these using a piece of bendable wire, very easily bendable. I just cut a length, twisted the ends together, made a hole with my barbecue skewer, added a little bit of hot glue, and then put my hanger down in there. I wanted to leave a little bit of the skewer above the hat to make sure I had something to tie to. So I snipped that off, placed my hanger, and then tied a piece of twine around my little snowman's hat. Now it's time to make the face, so I'm going to use the back end of a large paintbrush to give him 2 black eyes, and then using a detail brush, I'm going to give him a little bit of a wonky smile. I didn't want just the dots for a smile this time. I wanted a little bit of a wonky smile. And of course I do that same process to the third snowman. And I will go back and add a little white dot to the eyes to give it some dimension to make him look more lifelike. Now it's time to place the scarves. So I just wrap it around, get it exactly where I want it, hot glue it into place, making sure that I leave enough room for the snowman's buttons. And I use the back end of my paintbrush to make the buttons. I mixed up a little bit of paint to give me a pinkish color because I wanted to use that for his little cheeks, and then of course orange for the nose. And I'm using the back end of an eraser to give it the cheeks a little bit of a blush look. And of course the same process for the last one. And there you have cute little snowmen, perfect for a little occasional tree. They're very lightweight, but they're cute as a button, and I can't wait to hang them on my occasional tree. My next project, as promised, are my Pringles canned gnomes. I found these little packets at a Habitat Humanity resource. My husband and I were on vacation recently. And this is the little mini cheddar balls that come in what looks like a Pringles can. But they are the perfect size for these. It was kind of uncanny. We were on vacation down in South Florida, and we just love to go thrifting regardless of whether we're on vacation or not. So I wanted to go ahead and decorate these before I put them on my can, but in hindsight, I wish I had painted my cans and let them be drying before I put the decorations on. But sometimes, you know, as a crafter, we get excited to see what the decorations are going to look like and kind of get things out of order. But anyway, I'm adding some greenery from a wreath that I found at a thrift store that I just cut apart, and one of those spirally, I guess you'd call it, curly ribbon, but it's red glitter, perfect for Christmas. I'm adding some little red berries. And then the wreath had some of those little flocked miniature pine cones. So I snipped several of those off, 3 for each one. I'm going to add those to my decorations. And then I have some of the rusted jingle bells, and I'm going to add 2 of those to each one of my gnome hats as I'm getting them decorated. Now that those are decorated, it's time to paint my cans. I'm using Home Decor Adirondack colored chalk paint, and I'm just going to give this a couple of coats to make sure that I get good coverage. I didn't have 2 of the small cans. I had one of the larger cans, so I just took my little table saw, my little mini table saw, made a mark where I wanted to cut it down to, and I just sliced it down to the right size to fit my gnome hats. Now that those are all painted and dried, I'm going to add a layer of Mod Podge over my dried chalk paint to make sure that it doesn't chip off or flake off of the can. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to give that a good dry and then it'll be time to decorate. Now that my cans are all painted, Mod Podged, and dried, I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on the lid and glue it onto the can to make sure that once I put my hat on there, it won't slip off. So I'm just running a bead of hot glue around the top of the can, press it on firmly, and make sure it stays in place. Now that those are dry, I'm going to take my little gnome hats that I previously decorated. I'm just going to slide it over the top of my painted Pringles can, sliding it over, getting it just where I want it. And then I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue, various places, just to make sure that it stays in place. It doesn't go anywhere. Isn't he cute? When I have this glued in place on the sides and the back, I'm going to take my little pointed hat, bend it over, pull it down. Of course, the red one will go one way, the green will go the other, but I wanted it to be bent over. So I used a little bit of hot glue just to keep that in place. And then later I will add a pom-pom. I wanted to make a pom-pom for the end of the little gnome hats, and I didn't have any white yarn, so I took a mop head that I had bought from Dollar Tree, and I cut off some of the strands and separated them out. And all I'm going to do is put those together, wrap them around my fingers. I don't have a pom-pom maker, so I'm going to use my hand. Wrap them around my fingers and tie a piece of twine through the middle. And then I'm going to take my scissors and cut the loops on both sides, and then just trim it up to the size that I want it, fluff it out, keep trimming until I'm perfectly happy with the way it is, and then glue it to the end of the gnome's hat. These turned out just too stinking cute. If it's something you would like to try, drop me a comment below and let me know what you would do differently, or if you might do the same thing. I'd love to see it. And here's a final shot of the finished products: 2 gnomes and 3 snowmen. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. I thank you so much for watching. If you're a subscriber, I appreciate you more than you can know. And if not, please consider subscribing. This is Rebecca with Rust and Roses, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.